Alright, please add page 5, section 8.5, completing the square, day 3 to your table of contents. Alright, so we're going to complete the square today, and we're just going to use word problems to set up the equation. So it says, a landscaper is designing a rectangular brick patio. She has enough bricks to cover 144 square feet. She wants the length of the patio to be 10 feet greater than the width. What dimension should she use for the patio? So when we talk about covering something, we're talking about area. So to find the area of a rectangle, it's just base times height. And so we have the width, and the length is going to be 10 feet greater, and so that means plus. So it's going to be W plus 10. So we're going to find the base times the height. So it's just going to be W times W plus H, H but 10. And that's going to equal the area, or the number of bricks she has to cover 144 square feet. So we multiply the W in. So W times W is W squared. W times 10 is 10W. And so now we've set up our equation so that we're going to be able to complete the square. So remember from last time, to find the missing third number, we take half of 10. So maybe off to the side we just go half of 10. That equals 5. And then the second part of that is we have to square that number. So 5 squared is 25. And if I add a number to one side, I got to add it to both sides, so this is going to be plus 25. And so now we take our trinomial and we write it as a binomial squared. So it's going to be W plus, and what number gives us the 25? And that was this 5. So it's going to be plus 5. And 144 plus 25 is 169. So the whole reason we do this is because we want that to be squared. When it's squared, that allows me to take the square root of both sides, and so that the square root cancels out the square, and that just gives me the inside, the W plus 5. Now remember, when you square root a number, you're going to get two answers, so we're going to get a positive 13 and a negative 13. And if you remember the first time we did it, we wrote plus or minus. But if we split it up like this, it's going to save us a step. So now we just need to get W by itself. So we minus 5. So we get W equals 13 minus 5 is 8. And negative 13 minus 5 is negative 18. So here, it asks for the dimensions. What dimensions should she use for the patio? And so if we say the width is 8, so if this is 8, then this would be 8 plus 10, which is 18. So one possible dimension could be 8 by 18. Now, can we use the negative 18? Could I put a negative 18 here? And the answer is no, because we're actually talking about a real life problem, and I can't have a negative distance. So we're going to cross that one out. And so this one only has one answer, 8 foot by 18 feet. Alright, so pretty much the same problem as last time, except now we have a parallelogram. She has enough bricks to cover 65 square feet. She wants the base of the patio to be 8 feet greater than the height this time. And then what would the dimensions she used for the patio be? So see if you can fill in the missing numbers here for the height and the width. So this is our height, and we want the base to be 8 feet greater than the height, and so we would say H plus 8. To find the area of a parallelogram, It's the same formula, base times height. And so we're going to go base times height, which is just going to be h plus 8 times h. And remember, that's going to equal 65. So now we distribute, and we get h squared plus 8h. Go ahead and leave a blank here, is equal to 65. Now we want to find this number that we're going to add to both sides. Remember, we take half that middle number. Half of 8 is 4. And then we square it. So 4 squared is 16. So we have to add 16 to both sides. Now we want to take our trinomial and write it as a binomial squared. So what number gave us that 16? And that was 4. So we need to add 4 here. And 65 plus 16 is 81. Now we square root both sides. And we get h plus 4 is equal to 9 or negative 9. Now we solve for h. And so the height is going to be 9 minus 4 is 5, or negative 9 minus negative 4 is negative 13. And as soon as you see that negative number, look back here. Would a negative 13 make sense for a height? The answer is no, so we know it's not going to be that. And so if the height is 5, that would mean that the base would have to be 13. So here you would say the height is 5 and the base is equal to 13. Alright, so we've done a problem like this already. So here we want the perimeter to equal 11. So to find the perimeter, you just add up 3 sides. So that's going to be x squared plus 6x plus 4x, and that's going to equal 11. So 6 and 4 gives us 10x, and that's going to equal 11. So now we got to figure out what we need to add to this to make it a perfect trinomial. And so we take half of 10, which gives us 5, and then remember you have to square it. And so 5 squared is 25, so we need to add 25 to both sides. Now we write it as a binomial squared, and so it's going to be x plus, and what number gave us that 25? 5. 11 plus 25 is 36. So now we square root, and so the square root cancels out the square, and we get x plus 5 equals a 6 and negative 6. Now minus 5 from both sides, and x equals 1, negative 11. Now you always want to check the negative in one of the sides and see, because it could be positive. So if I plug negative 11 in here, I get 121. So it actually works on that side, but over here, 6 times negative 11 is negative 66, so it doesn't work on that side. So we can throw the negative 11 out. And so since x is 1, that means that this side is 6, and this side is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1. And now it makes sense, because 4 plus 6 plus 1 equals 11.